Dear ladies and gentlemen, dear Mr. President, dear Mr. Parliamentarian MEP, dear Mr. Professor, thank you very much for the invitation. I first have to say I'm very sorry for my English. As you know, Switzerland has 4 official languages, and as a parliamentarian you have to know these 4 languages. It's Italian, French, German and Romanic, and so 4 languages is enough for me. But I try my best that you will understand me. I really like to be here because I like very much the spirit of freedom and of liberty you have here in this institute, and you have also in the party, Svobodni. And of course I can support that, and I think it's in the tradition of your country. You were for many hundred years fighting for liberty and for freedom and also for independence, and the history of Switzerland is much more boring compared to the history of your country. Now, what have we done in Switzerland with the Gold Initiative? It was discussed around the world. We got many emails from all the enemies of fiat money, from all the enemies of state monopolies on money. And we started an initiative that means you have to collect 100,000 signatures, and then you will have a binding referenda to change the constitution of the country. And we wanted 3 points in the constitution. And these 3 points were that the gold must be stored physically in Switzerland. At the moment, there is about 70% in Switzerland. Before we started the initiative, it was under 50%. They changed a bit to get more votes in the referenda. Then we wanted that the Swiss National Bank has no more the right to sell the gold reserves. They sold over 50% of the gold reserves of the National Bank for very, very bad prices. And the third point was that at least 20% of the reserves from our National Bank has to be in gold. And in the first surveys, we had over 65% of the people who wanted to vote yes, and then a massive attack was started against us. You know, all the banks, they like the fiat money. The state, the National Bank, all the journals, TVs wrote massively against the initiative, and at the final end we've lost the initiative, but I'm here to tell you you can do it better than we did it, and you still can make your own gold initiative. And I told all the yes voters, okay, if we've lost the vote for the whole country, but your private reserves, nobody can decide about it. You decide about your private reserves, and of course you can have at least 20% of gold on your own. It's a very big presentation from another debate. I just give some points about the debate, what were the main arguments pro, main arguments contra. We saw that Switzerland is printing money more than any other country in the world. Nobody believes me that when I'm in other countries, but it's true. They printed about 500 billions in English, in German Milliarden, printed so much money as they never did before, and they bought euros with their money to have a stable exchange between euro and the Swiss franc. And the main argument of the Swiss National Bank was we can no more keep this fixed exchange rate between euro and Swiss francs when we have to buy gold or when we have to keep a fixed percentage of gold. And a few weeks after the referenda, they kept that fixed presentation anyway. I have to point out that all the initiatives and referendums we have in Switzerland, it's very rarely that you get a majority. And often when you get 30 or 40%, you can change politics. And we could make a big debate in Swiss politics about money printing, about fiat money, about the worth of gold. And we didn't have this debate before, so at least this was a success for our side, that many people were thinking about this subject, and before nobody was thinking about where is the money coming from and what is the cost of printing money. Because if you print more and more and more money, of course one piece of it will be worth less. But I think I'm a lawyer, and the professor for economics has to talk about that. He will understand that better than me, but it's quite logical. I've talked about that, where the gold is located. The gold is for, if there is a very big crisis, you need that gold. And when there is a big crisis, the gold should be in your country and not in any country in the world. First, a lot of the gold was in the United States, and if you have a big crisis, it's very difficult to get the gold back. And we have, in our history, in the Second World War, we wanted to get some gold back to buy food or energy, and the Americans didn't give us back our gold. They've stopped, and so we said it's more secure to have the gold in our country. Here you see the changes of the percentage of gold from Switzerland. It used to be over 100 years, about 44%, and since 2013 it's under 20%. So they really sold out more gold than any other country in the world. This was the president of the National Bank, the old one. His wife played with the money, and he had to leave then. We are lucky about that, what he said. And this is the number of the gold sales from Switzerland. They were really high, and they were for a very bad price. Here you can see this. They've sold the gold when the price was low, and ended the sales when the price was high, and so Switzerland lost about 70 billions with the wrong sales. And here you can see the gold price. Of course, he's changing, but when you look in a long term, gold is the most stable, most secure way you can invest your money. You don't have the danger that you lose everything, and nearly every currency from the world had that lost, because that's kind of the system that the government prints money, and at the end the money has no worth. And gold has always a worth. You can't lose everything. And so it would be very important for a country to have at least some gold for your security, stability, and also for the freedom of the people. Because then the government or the federal bank can't print money as much as they want. They always have to buy also gold. And We are sure it's very dangerous, the future of the euro. It's absolutely not sure what will happen with the European currency, and it's very dangerous for a country to buy so much euros, and we need alternatives. I've been last week in Denmark. They have the same problem than Switzerland. They buy a lot of euros to keep the exchange rate stable. They don't want to lose tourists or people who come to the country to buy something, and they don't want to lose the export industries. We have the same problem in Switzerland, and now they propose to make 25% in gold, 25% in Czech kronas, 25% in Swiss francs, and 25% in euros. And I think that's a very interesting idea from the Euroscepticals from Denmark. Now, what has happened in Switzerland? In Switzerland, after the referendum about the gold initiative, the National Bank said we have to stop buying euros as crazy people. We have to going back to a usual situation, but it was too late. You cannot buy first for 500 billion euros, and then you cut it. So then you make a very big loss on it, and it's the biggest loss in the history of Switzerland the National Bank ever had. But it's still better than continuing buying euros as till the end of the euro. So better you stop it late than you do never stop. And I think the Gold Initiative pointed out the debate about buying euros and was the beginning of the end of buying euros. So that was a success of the Gold Initiative. But of course, it's not very easy. We have now a big debate in Switzerland. We don't have much tourists because everything was about 20–30% more expensive. The tourists from Germany or from France, they go to Austria for skiing and no more to Switzerland. It's too expensive. Our export industries have a big problem to sell the stuff because everything is more expensive. And we try now to help the economy with lower taxes, less bureaucracy, and more give them some impulses, but not with more state or more government. No, we have to help them with less government and less bureaucracy, and I hope that will help. But if you look in a long term, I'm sure it's better to stay independent from the European currency, to stay neutral and to keep your freedom and your liberty also for your currency and your money. And that's what is my proposition for your country. I mean, of course, you have to decide what you will do with your country, but keep independent and keep your kronas. Don't go to be part of these euros. When you look what they are doing now in these days, to buy papers, they are not existing, and you buy and buy and buy more of them. That can't be good for the future. I'm sure that will be more or less, the euro will end in the next 10 or 15 years, and every country that is not part of the European currency will have success. Thank you very much.